So on both these problems, we're supposed to factor it, find zeros, and use that information just to make a sketch of the graph. And for the sketch, you know, we want to know left-right behavior, and we want to know those intercepts. Where does it cross the x-axis? And that's what the 0 is going to give us. So let's take a look at this one. We're going to factor it first. Both of these, notice there's 4 terms. They're set up for factoring by grouping. So for example, on this first one, I'll set it equal to 0, since that's what I'm solving. First 2 terms, I notice I can factor out an x squared. Second 2 terms, I notice I can factor out a -1. And notice what that does is that leaves me this x plus 1 in both of them. Sorry about that. So now what I can do is factor out that x plus 1. So if I factor out that x plus 1, what's left here is an x squared. What's left here is a -1. And I'm not quite done yet because I have this x plus 1, but then I have this difference of squares I can factor. This itself will factor into x plus 1 times x minus 1. And then that tells me my zeros are -1. Notice it's coming from 2 different places, and then a +1. So this -1 coming from 2 different places, like I could think of this x plus 1 times x plus 1 as x plus 1 squared. That's going to be a 0 where it doesn't cross. It just touches the x-axis and comes back up, or from the bottom and goes back down. So now let me use this to try and think about a sketch of this thing. I know I have a 0 at 1. I know I have a 0 at -1. And if I look back to my original, it's x cubed and it's positive. So I know it's going to be going up to the right, eventually, and opposite direction to the left, down to the left. And notice if I just go through on both of these, I'll end up going the wrong direction. I'll end up going the wrong direction. So what I need to do is think about where these came from. Like I said before, this -1, really, it's a repeated route. It comes from 2 different places. So it's one of these ones that just touches it, comes back down. And then I don't know how far down it goes down here or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just doing a sketch. And then it's going to cross through there and head on up. All right, let's do the same sort of analysis for 39. So here it is. I know that I'm going to find the 0, so I'm going to factor it first. I look at these 2 terms, I can take out an x squared. And if I do that, that's going to leave me with a 2x minus 1. And then here, -18 and 9. I want this leading term, after I factor it, to end up being positive. So actually I'm going to take out a -9. -9 goes into both of those. And the other thing is, I want this to match that. So if I take out a -9, I know this is going to end up being a 2x. Looking good. Take out a -9, that leaves me a -1. Looking good. And then I have this 2x minus 1 I can factor out, leaving me with x squared minus 9. So I have this 2x minus 1. I'm good with that. Difference of squares here. So this will factor into an x plus 3 times an x minus 3. Let's scoot the paper a little bit. So I know my zeros. My zeros are going to be -3, +3. And look at this, 2x minus 1. When does that equal 0? My answer is 1/2. If I don't just see it, I can actually just kind of solve that, right? Add 1, divide by 2, 1/2. So there's my zeros. So let's start to sketch this thing. I have a 0 at +3, I have a 0 at 1/2, and I have a 0 at -3. It's cubic, so we're going to go in opposite directions. That's positive, so I know it's going to end up going up on the right. Cubic opposite direction, so I know it's going to end up going down on the left, somewhere around here. And none of these are repeated roots, like nothing's squared. Each of them come from a single place. So I know it's going to come up, go through there. Who knows, get really high, maybe not. Don't know. I could test points to see what happens. Go down through there, go back up through there. So My rough sketch is going to look like this. And the things that I know for sure are that it'll cross here, it's below over here, it's above here, it's below here, and it's above there. I'm not sure about what happens here, but that's for later analysis. All right, I hope that helps.